The last time I listened to Logic was No Pressure back in 2020. And following Logic's career, you could obviously, guess, and I've admitted, and it's been a huge part of the channel over the past, I don't know how many years, that, I used to be a big Logic fan. His music in the beginning of his career was great. I thought it was really inspired. He was hungry. And I felt like there was nothing or nowhere for him to go but up, for a very long time. But eventually he got up. Eventually he got to a higher plateau, a level of success that I would say most artists don't ever usually get to. And so seeing Logic get to that point was especially gratifying. It was a happy moment for me as someone who felt like they had been a part of that person's career since almost day one. And seeing the level of success that they are at right now, I think is great. I think it's great that he's got a family, he's taking care of his business, taking care of his peoples. All that makes me happy as someone who was a supporter, very early on. I guess the thing that is giving me pause about Logic now is the retirement. I assumed that Logic wasn't going to stop making music when he said he was going to stop making music. I assumed that retirement announcement, the rollout for this being the final ever Logic album, the tears, the blood, the streams, the happiness in this being the final chapter, I assumed that none of that would be true. But it is awkward seeing that reality play out. It is awkward seeing that rollout happen, because it's almost as if a part of what made that album special for me was it being his final, it being his last, it being his that final chapter, that last hurrah. You know what I mean? And so at this point, when I see him releasing new music, I just kind of wince at it. He dropped 2 tracks within the last 24 or 48 hours. One, I believe, was called Tetris, and then the other one, I'm not too sure, but it was a 2-pack, right? And he did rant. I saw a video of him ranting, saying that Def Jam is on some fuck shit once again. They're making him release this 2-pack as 2 separate singles, which kind of fucks everything up, fucks up the rollout for vinyl days a bit, which is understandably frustrating. But there's a part of me that's asking why you're still making music anyway. The more I listen to Logic's music, post No Pressure, and I've been feeling this way about his music probably since 2017, was that it just doesn't feel necessary. And I know you could say that about all pieces of art or entertainment. Like, none of it is technically necessary, but I mean necessary as it relates to it adding to anything. The value of the genre, the value of the artist who's making it. I just don't feel like it's doing a big service to Logic's name releasing these newer cuts. Now, is the instrumental palette for these cuts entertaining? Is that nice to listen to? Sure. But it coming from Logic, to me, it doesn't hit. And I don't think it's because I've left Logic in the past. I just think that rollout of retirement has been cheapened to such an extent that now I'm just like, why? What is the reason? Is it because you're looking for that gratification from the audience? Is it that you're still seeking that respect and admiration from the hip hop community that you feel that you didn't get when you were making music a bit more consistently early on in your career? Do you feel like no one's acknowledged you having a classic? Because that's kind of like a staple. Like most hip hop artists, as they go through their career, they have that one definitive record that is acknowledged by not only their fan base, but the industry, the other rappers, their competition even. Like, they are feared, they are revered. And I feel like since Logic never really got that, at least publicly from what I could tell, it's almost as if these newer cuts that he's releasing are like pleads for attention. Please come look at what I'm working on. Am I good now? Am I better now? Is it good enough? And a part of me feels like, yeah, like I want to chime in to hear what he's saying, but I also don't want to, because I don't want to be disappointed, especially after the closer. The benefit of Logic closing out on No Pressure was that it was a good album. No Pressure, ending off Logic's career with No Pressure was good. It closed the book on everything that he had done so far commercially. It closed the book on everything that he had done so far within his musical career. It closed the book on the Pressure series. It ended with him basically alluding to the fact that since he is in the position that he's in right now, since he's garnered so much success, gained so much attention, gotten so much money, gained a family out of it, he got a lot out of the deal, that at this point in his life, he's basically under no pressure. So the more I hear him drop music, I just wonder what it's for, because it never adds to anything. I've listened to these 2 recent singles and they're not bad. You know, they're up to snuff with what I feel Logic's released in the last 2 or 3 years. But I just feel like at this point in his career, as he ages, he's not getting better. Is it tolerable? Of course. Is it listenable? Of course. But there hasn't been nearly enough time for there to have been an artistic development to a point where he would sound vastly different from his quote unquote last record till now. You know, when we get excited about Kendrick Lamar dropping music, I don't think all of the hype and all of the excitement is just about the fact that, oh, Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest rappers of all time. I think a part of that excitement comes from the fact that we've waited 5 years for a release. Kendrick legit released his last album in 2017, right? In that time frame, Logic has released Everybody. Logic has released Bobby Tarantino 2, Bobby Tarantino 3, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Young Sinatra 4, Supermarket, No Pressure, these 2 new singles, a bunch of features within that time frame. He has been too active for someone to care about him breaking a retirement. It has been 1 year, and even within that year, he still dropped a 3rd installment to his mixtape series. I'm not saying that he can't do whatever he wants. I'm just saying it cheapens it. You're not giving people an opportunity to miss you, and on top of them not missing you, you're not giving people an opportunity to really chew on anything that you're saying, because you're not providing them with enough meat on the bone. Logic is a good enough rapper, and I feel like that's what he's been for quite a few years now, a good enough rapper. Good enough to understand why someone like him is popular, good enough to understand why he's made as much music as he's made and made as much money as he's made. And I'm certainly not saying that he can't continue to make music, but give yourself an opportunity to grow, not just from a familial point of view, like you growing a family and having a child and, you know, having a wife. I mean, really let that sit in and fester and develop your mentality over years, so that when you do come back and start making music, you actually have something poignant to say. You have something useful, some knowledge, because the one thing you don't want is to have a legacy of mid because you don't know how to walk away. And again, I want to reiterate, I am not expecting Logic to retire, nor was I expecting Logic to retire when he said he would retire. He said that and he was what, 30? Of course you're not. Of course you still have much more to say, but just give it time, because I feel like this is far too early, far too soon, and given a few more years, I think Logic could actually come back and be a force to be reckoned with, but I don't think now's the time for him to start. I don't think, especially with these most recent singles, these most recent records, I don't think enough change has occurred for us to expect a different Logic. And for the fans who miss him, fine, you're getting your fan service, you're getting what you wanted. But as someone who really cares about the perception of a Logic and also the legacy of a Logic, I think he would benefit from just waiting a while, going through life, maybe expressing himself in other art forms, and then coming back. But as it stands, I'm not excited about this new record. The beats seem really cool, so if anything, I think there could definitely be a conversation to be had about Logic's ear for music, but outside of that, I'm just not expecting much. Y'all let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. Interested to hear what you have to say. And until next time, I am out.